Defense Department has ended its decades-long accord with the University of the Philippines, which prohibits state forces from entering its campuses.
The UP community is denouncing the termination of the accord that bans police and military operations inside its campuses. But the Defense Department insists this is necessary to protect the youth.
Maski hindi pa naman sila pumapasok, meron itong tinatawag na chilling effect. Dapat maging malaya ang pag-iisip at pagpapahayag ng ating mga estudyante at guro. Kung merong nagbabantay at merong pangamba ang ating mga estudyante na bigla na lang merong nakikialam sa kanilang mga gawain, walang saysayang.
The President of the University of the Philippines has asked Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana to reconsider his decision to terminate an agreement that bars the military and police presence inside UP campuses without notifying university authorities. Now, UP alumni and students say that the termination of the accord opens the gates for harassment and suppression and sends a chilling message on the autonomy of other schools.
Meanwhile, the government continues to face increasing demands for transparency on the efficacy and prices of the COVID-19 vaccines that it plans to procure. The Integrated Bar of the Philippines says there is legal basis for government to disclose transactions in the interest of the public. But will government recognize the people's right to information? We discuss in this episode of The Chiefs.
And welcome to this Tuesday edition of The Chiefs. With us, of course, on set is Robbie Alampay of One News. And also with us are Ana Marie Pamintuan of the Philippine Star in the port area in Manila. And of course, our Chief of News 5, Luchi Cruz Valdez from Quezon City.
Hi, Robbie.
Good evening.
Hi, good
Hello.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And what's our big story today? Of course, this is one of the topics, but
Before we get to that,
as alumni, all four of us, I'm sure we are stakeholders.
puro mga taga-UP nga pala tayo. No?
May clarification yung Pfizer, di ba? At least may ang Norway pala na yung deaths now, no direct
yes.
link between the vaccine and the deaths. So at least yun.
Yeah.
Medyo naiba dyan sa topic natin ngayon.
that's right. And in other vaccine-related topics, we're now saying that at least for one vaccine that the government is looking to purchase, mukhang mapapaaga. The original plan was September. By May, they're saying baka pumasok itong isang vaccine.
And may breaking story tayo. I understand the President has told the Senate President, Tito Soto, that he's willing to whisper the price of Sinovac. It's not really clear if it's only to the Senate President or to the Senate in executive session. I'm not certain which is which.
Okay, magkakaroon na rin ng executive session, di ba? Parang supposedly that's going to be the tact they're going to take.
So parang
Nagpirmahan na daw ng 20 million doses of Moderna vaccine. So maganda.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yun yung vaccine ni Dr. Anthony Fauci. Yun yung choice niya.
Of choice, yes.
oh, okay, he has a choice, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yun.
Right.
I'm waiting for your segue.
Okay. Ay, di ba? Yun na nga yung umpisa, yun ang pinag-uusapan natin. Yung habang ganito nagkakagulo tayo sa ating alma mater, sa UP.
So what are you implying?
Magulo doon kanina namang kaninang magan. Yung nagrarally nga because of that, Siguro we bring in the guest na.
Okay, our first guest for tonight is here to talk to us about what happened with the agreement between the Department of National Defense and the University of the Philippines. So joining us is UP Vice President for Public Affairs, Dr. Elena Pernia. Ma'am, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Chiefs.
Thank you for inviting me, and
Good evening.
I'm very happy to be with my co-alumni from the College of Communication.
Oo nga.
My teacher,
Ma'am.
thesis advisor.
Ma'am, College of Mass Communication, Institute of Mass Communication.
IMC.
Institute pa na.
IMC pa kami nun eh.
Department pa yata nun, department.
Bawal pag-usapan ng student number, ha?
Oh, Robin.
Non-disclosure agreement. Yun.
NDA, non-disclosure agreement ang student numbers. Okay?
Okay.
Buting malinaw.
Okay, game.
Well, ma'am, to begin with, can you give some context here? We have at least two agreements, one in 81 and one in 1989, with regard to this, that the military and the police are not just supposed to go into campus and conduct operations without prior notice with the UP administration. And this is a private agreement, I suppose. It is not it is not a contract of sorts. My question put to you is this: it is clear what the UP leadership's position is and the student body's position is. Pero to begin with po, have these agreements really served their purpose? Have they been able to prevent or keep the military and the police from going into campus, considering wala namang sanctions kung sakaling mag-violate?
Oh, you're very correct on a lot of points that you said just now, Ed. To begin with, no, yes, there are two agreements. One is called the Soto Enrile Accord, no, and just a clarification. Si Sonia Soto, who was the one who she was an LFS, she was, I think,
LFS chairperson.
Yes.
Hindi naman siya UP sa Lyceum yun. But nonetheless, and this was in 1981, nonetheless, yung Soto Enrile Accord na yun was, then Secretary Enrile brought it to the attention of the university, and it was discussed in BOR, no, in the Board of
Regents.
So parang yun, and then it became sort of the modus vivendi na noong beginning in 1981. Kasi if you remember, 81 there was the lifting of martial law, right? 81. Yun. And then the second one is yung DND
89.
which is 1989. Now in both accords, in both agreements, no, yung precisely it was the relationship between the military, the police, and the university. Na hindi makakapasok ang mga ito kung walang coordination. Pero sa totoo naman pwede naman silang pumasok All it is a little coordination with the UP officials. And then there are also some instances na walang coordination kasi yung pass-through, emergencies, and the like, no? But I want to correct you na hindi yun parang kontrata kasi when especially the DND UP agreement was forged, no, was signed, it had all the attendant formalities related to the execution of agreements. No? And one important thing there is yung fidelity. We trusted, the parties, UP, and then DND, there was trust there, and that we could do the things that were specified in the agreement, and that we could follow it. No, and let it guide the relationship. So walang sanctions, tama ka dun. But at the very start, there was that the feeling na we can do this together. We trust each other.
Yeah.
No, so parang which is why it makes itong unilateral abrogation masakit kasi walang pag-uusap dito
Dr. Pernia, I wanted to swing on to the other side of the context here, no? Kasi sabi ni Secretary Lorenzana, this has become a hindrance, naging balakid ito sa kailangang trabahuhin. So it's very clear what the interest of UP is in preserving the atmosphere of academic freedom in the university and at all its campuses. Malinaw din naman po yung sinasabi ng DND na hindi, mandate namin to, peace and order, and we need to do our jobs also. But I want to swing to that side. Has it been a hindrance, and can you cite actually examples to prove that no, actually pwede pa rin naman? There have been, following protocols of the accord that the military and the police have actually functioned and executed their mandates even when it comes to the UP campuses. Can you cite examples?
yung specific examples, ako ang hirap ng question mo, Robbie, no? You caught me off guard. I cannot think of particular instances no na pumasok ang UP.
But I guess the question is to address the point of that it's a hindrance to their operations.
Yeah, of course we take the contrary view, di ba? That it is not it is in fact, because of this agreement that we have a situation where the university has walang takot, no? Meron kaming sense of academic freedom, and that we can go about our expression, free expression, and not fear the questioning, the disagreements, no, and exploring discussions on different, on different ideas and different topics. No?
Okay, more concretely, actually, Secretary Lorenzana refers to what he calls undeniable membership of UP students in the CPP-NPA, and likewise the ongoing recruitment program in campus that the CPP-NPA is doing. Yun ang kanyang tinatawag na, I guess, hindrance, no? That all of these activities are taking place, and easily so because of this agreement. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Alam mo, Lucy, sa totoo lang, no, wala kaming nakitang organized recruitment, no, ng mga estudyante. Kasi actually, the university will not support any kind of sedition, any kind of violence, any kind of recruitment that will put our students in danger, no. So the honest truth is, ako, and I have been in the university since estado ng age ko, 1972, no, when martial law was imposed. Okay? So undeniably, merong mga doon sa enkwentro ng CPP NPA with the military, meron mga meron nga mga inakukuk na nahuhuli, no, namamatay sa mga enkwentro. Masakit yun na mga taga-UP. Pero yun nga, kung estudyante pa sila at the time of the encounter, well, we will always, kasi di pa sila graduate, so, but they have taken leave, medyo, but that's a totally different issue. No, but in the same breath that you say na meron mga UP na sumasali sa CPP NPA, bukod ng dami naman ang mga UP na napupunta sa sektor ng gobyerno, sa sektor ng industriya. No, so what I'm trying to say is that over the years that the university has been in existence, our contribution in terms of leadership, no, in different fields is very concrete. And we are not feeding, the enemies of the state with our people.
So, Dr. Pernia, you want that built into that nuancing, built into this conversation? Kasi ang sinasabi ni Secretary Lorenzana, meron na daw mga nahuli. In fact, meron na yatang nabaril na UP student or UP alumnus, no? Na NPA, suspected NPA. Anyway, kahit ako nung estudyante ko, may mga kilala ko na nire-recruit na ng NPA.
Ako rin.
Some of them talaga actually sumali. Pero what you're saying is, it's not organized, diba?
Yes.
It's not sponsored by the university. And are you planning to discuss this? Meron pa bang further discussion that's possible with the government on this?
Well, sana, we come from the courage of mass communication, and diba, that's what we believe in communication with different stakeholders, with different potential partners, with different existing partners. So sana meron. In fact, nga yung appeal, ako, in an interview earlier this morning, I said na maybe the good secretary will favor us with some discussion, about their concerns are, what our concerns are, and hopefully we can get together towards something that is that is beneficial for everyone, especially
Yeah,
our
yeah.
Yeah, ma'am,
How
will-
would you reframe it? How would you reframe it if you were to discuss what would be acceptable to both sides?
Well, the current situation is acceptable. I mean,
Ma'am, wait, let me,
Status quo.
yeah, but,
uh,
yeah, ma'am,
the first test is really parang a reconsideration of the abrogation. Sana yun nga. No, pero but then let's listen. Mahirap magsabi na ito na yun, no? We are there to talk and listen to each other's concerns.
yeah, ma'am, let me seize upon this to tell our viewers that we did invite Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana to join us in this conversation. They declined, but in the meantime, I wanted to ask because President Danicon of UP did, in his statement, in his letter to the DND, did say he is urging a review and a reconsideration of this abrogation. My question is, do you have a choice beyond requesting a reconsideration? Does UP, I mean, in case this is ignored and this plea is not addressed, do you really have any other option?
I'm not a lawyer, but I have been listening to different voices, no? And may mga nagsasabi na, hindi mo naman talaga, pwedeng ma-abrogate unilaterally, eh. And then there are different situations.
Secretary Pernia yata yan eh. Na isa pang taga-UP. Baka gusto magsalita.
Ipasok na natin.
Well,
I'm sorry, I really got lost. But my
yes, ma'am. But to amplify your point a while ago, I was just looking it up. We have at least 5 Philippine presidents who studied in UP. That would
Yes.
include, among other people, of course, Ferdinand Marcos, Jose Laurel, College of Law, Manuel Rojas, College of Law, Elpidio Quirino, College of Law, and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo for her PhD. So you have
Not only that, you have incumbents in the Senate, you have incumbents in the House of Representatives, even the Department of National Defense, let's face it.
Exactly. So we have the spectrum. You talk about our alumni, di ba? We have 300 living alumni all over the world. No, what are and you'll have them in different sectors, in different continuum of positive, negative. Depending on what your on what your criterion for this is. No.
Yes. Many people will say, especially those outside of the academe, will find the concept of academic freedom quite vague. And they don't see how the presence of policemen in the university can actually impinge on academic freedom and the researches and studies that are undertaken there that make UP number 65th in the ranking of this the Times of London or whatever. Ano daw ang connection nun? Yun ang hindi magets ng marami, no? Ano ba yung academic freedom na yan? At anong magagawa ng pagpigil ng mga pulis sa campus nga naman?
Yeah. What is academic freedom? It's the freedom to think, to speak, to study, to teach, and especially the freedom to disagree. In the classrooms where you were, di ba? How many instances na kung anong sinasabi ng teacher, tatango lang ang estudyante, no? We foster that yung critical thinking, so that students will not be afraid to speak out, to search for topics that that interest them, and the libraries and discussion groups will be there to support this. Kapag meron kang sabihin mo ng military na nandoon,
Yes.
di ba ang chilling effect doon? No, di ba yun nang parang sabihin mo, you would censor yourself, di ba, about the research that you want to do, the thesis topics that you want to follow, what you present in class, and then of course the chilling effect on other schools. No, I was in conversation this afternoon with somebody who said that, alam mo, that's why other institutions are also supporting, because they're really interested in what's going to happen in the University of the Philippines. Kasi yung chilling effect nga na yun.
Ma'am,
But
let
you think they're going to be that invasive? I mean, invasive to the point where papakialaman na nila yung curriculum, yung mga research na ginagawa nyo. Is there actually a possibility that it can come to that?
Maybe not. No, maybe not. Pero hopefully not. Pero isn't that what the discussion will be with kasi magulo ngayon, there's a lot of confusion. That's why sentiments are like that, it's heartening, no, na if you look at social media, maraming sabihin mo na yung mga moderates, in fact yung mga yung mga walang political position, maski sila nagagalit.
Ma'am,
Yun yung sinasabi ng government, no? Pa-follow up ko lang yan. Yun ang sinasabi ng government, hindi naman daw nila pakikialaman yung academic freedom, yung discussion. Actually, hindi naman nila sinabi yan. But kahit wala naman dun yung security forces, tuloy-tuloy yung intelligence gathering, I'm sure, within the campus. Kaya lang, ang pwede nila sigurong mapigilan, are you worried? I don't know kung pwede nilang pigilan or gusto nilang pigilan yung mga rally, yung mga impromptu rally, yung mga protesta. Are you worried about that? Kasi I don't think they can enter the classroom. Hindi naman pwede yun. O kaya hindi naman nila pwede sabihin Board of Regents, pag-uwi niya ang curriculum niya, you're encouraging anti-government I don't think they can do that. Anong mga action ang pwedeng talagang serious concerns na pwedeng gawin ng state forces within the campus?
Well, I cannot answer that because I don't know what they're going to do. But Ami, I'm telling you that right now, because of COVID, because we're not doing face-to-face classes, we haven't been allowed. There are no students in the university. No? So you talk about mass gathering, yung parang nasan sila? Di ba?
Ma'am, let me reframe yung question ko kanina about what Secretary Lorenzana was saying, that this has become a hindrance. I won't ask you for examples to illustrate otherwise, but I will ask you na, because UP is trying to also make the point na hindi naman kayo naharangan meron lang protocol. You just have to inform us, coordinate with us. So first question is, how common or how rare is that request for coordination? And secondly, when it does come to a request to coordinate, how hard is it to get the cooperation of the university?
How often? Again, I'm not in any position to, to answer that one. But how difficult? It's not difficult at all. It's not difficult at all. When I was dean of the College of Mass Communication, there was a time that I was, I was exploring communication course, training courses for the PNP. In fact, it was at their request. And I was so heartened with that one because we were trying to craft something where it wasn't just yung communication skills like reading, writing, but it was going down to the interpersonal communication with different sectors. It was for the police, para yung mga foot policemen nila would be better communicators, na kapag sinabihan, pag meron silang ma-encounter na pwede ba ho kayong makausap at sagutin silang hindi, alam nila kung ano isasagot para sumagot naman sa kanila. It was that kind of communication training that the two groups, the PNP and the University of the Philippines, were looking at. So what I'm saying is that, is it difficult for military and police forces to enter the university? Hindi naman. How often do they enter for police for police and military action. I'm not sure about that. But what I'm sure about is that there are other instances, other purposes for this university military police interaction, which have nothing to do with police action, but more to do with cooperation and learning from each other.
Ma'am, kasi in all likelihood po, it doesn't look like the DND is going to agree to put back the agreement. Looking at the temperature now of politics in the Philippines, it's not likely to happen. But I'm wondering lang if you have already set some sort of a hard baseline. If the agreement is not put back, where will you draw the line? Hanggang saan lang pwede ang police at military pagdating sa pagpasok sa campuses? For example, would policemen be allowed to roam or patrol inside the AS, Arts and Sciences building, the corridors? Would they be allowed to do that? Would the university allow police cars and military vehicles to just stay in campus for no apparent reason?
Alam nyo, maski yung SSB namin, hindi naman pumapasok sa loob ng mga buildings namin. Hindi sila pumapasok sa mga classroom. So, bakit papasok din ang police na maglalakad-lakad sa mga corridor? Hindi naman pwede yun.
What's the worst thing that you fear can happen with the abrogation of this agreement? What do you fear they will do, with the abrogation of this agreement?
Ay nako, the imagination is
Fertile.
But there can be, as I said, as your imagination can grow, and that's why we need to be, that's why we need to meet and discuss so that there is clarification.
Okay. Dr. Elena Pernia, the Vice President for Public Affairs of the University of the Philippines, where we all came from. Ma'am, thank you for joining us tonight. And
Thank you,
we hope to have you
ma'am.
back in
Nice
the
seeing you again.
Yes,
Maraming salamat
thank
po.
you.
So we will just go into a break. Please stay with us.
Star Carlito Galvez Jr. says that the government will spend over 82 billion pesos for mass inoculation. According to Galvez, the country was able to save $700 million or around 33 billion pesos after negotiations with the manufacturers.
Na ginawa po namin yung pitong aming ninenegotiate. We look at the tawag nating market price and also yung negotiated price. And then when we negotiated, nagkaroon kami ng tinatawag na halfway agreements at nakita namin na napakalaki ng na-save natin.
The DOH clarifies that the vaccine prices released by the Senate are not the negotiated amounts between the government and vaccine manufacturers.
Sa pandemic po na ito, kailangan po natin ang kooperasyon po ng Senado at saka ng Ekutibo para magkaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na whole of nation, whole of government approach. So, I'm willing to reconcile with the Senate.
Welcome back to the Chiefs here on One News. We're now in the final stage of our conversation, and now joining us is Atty. Domingo Egon Cayosa, President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Good evening, Atty. Cayosa. Welcome back to the Chiefs.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, attorney.
Evening.
Good evening everyone. Magandang gabi sa nanonood sa atin.
Sir, we did invite you to talk about vaccines and transparency in government. Pero I hope you don't mind, samantalahin na po namin kayo while you're
Ayan
here.
na.
Kanina we were talking
Doesn't mind at all.
to the UP Vice President Elena Pernia. I'll pose the same question I asked her to you because President Concepcion of UP has urged DND Secretary Lorenzana to reconsider and to review the abrogation of the accord. My question is, does UP have any choice beyond urging, beyond making an appeal?
In terms of the agreement, any of the parties can walk away from it. If you talk about legalities, the DND can actually terminate it kasi wala naman tong termino, walang limitation. However, it's not about legality. It's about the fairness and the courtesies. Di ba mas maganda, since dalawang panig yan, bago naman magkalimutan, magkatalikuran, mag-usap-usap muna. Pangalawa, hindi maganda yung mga rason na sinasabi. Alam niyo naman sa UP, sanay tayo na pag may sinasabi, tinatanong, vinevet at inuusisa natin. Hindi lang ba yung obey ng obey, no? So, dapat naman pinag-uusapan, meron bang basehan. At matindi ba yan? O baka naman pwede namang lutasin yung mga issue, mga problema na hindi kinakailangan kakalimutan. Kasi napaka-importante ang prinsipyo dito sa agreement na ito. Sa totoo lang, hindi naman yan kinakailangan ng UP sapagkat ang ating karapatan na malaya mamahayag, mag-isip, mag-critique at mag-aral nasa konstitusyon. Wala yan sa agreement na yan. So kahit tanggalin yan ng DND, may option pa rin ang UP. Patuloy pa rin tayo makikibaka, mag-iisip ng malaya at questionin yung mga hindi tama. So ang punto lang dito is where is the statesmanship? Where is the courtesy? Where is the mutual trust and respect between agencies of government? Alalahan ho natin yung UP, gobyerno din yan eh. PND,
So
gobyerno.
But sir,
okay, so as a political move, do you think this was, in effect, is it going to be bad for the government even? I mean, do you think this will instigate even more militancy on the part of a university that is known for its militancy? Kumbaga lalo lang bang ginalit? Or is this going to really help them in their anti-terrorism and extremism campaign?
Well, I don't think it will help them in any way. As a matter of fact, mas malaki ang backlash sa kanila. Hindi lang na it will increase the activism of UP. UP will outlast this presidency. It will outlast this government. And UP is much bigger than any one of us, with any government or president. Yung ating tradisyon, honor, excellence, leadership, and service, gagawin natin yan regardless kung sino ang namumuno. But what is clear, or what might be perceived is that mukhang may insecurity ang gobyerno. Kasi yung mga nakaraang mga gobyerno, Marcos and Villar Ramos, they were so confident, they were so statesmanly na there was mutual respect at kinikilala yung kahalagahan ng academic freedom in nation building. At sa tingin nila, kahit bigyan ng mas kalayaan at puwang ang UP, mga aktivista, kaya nilang patakbuhin ang gobyerno and accomplish their mission. Ibig ba nila sabihin ngayon na ang gobyerno ngayon ay mahina na kinakailangang tanggalin ang napakalit na agreement na ito? So these are the questions that they have to respond to in the free market of ideas.
Okay. Yeah, but Attorney, if I may be frank, this is not exactly an administration that strives to be diplomatic. There's no shame for this government to say na I'm not a statesman. In fact, that's what the President keeps saying. I mean, I'm not talking about Secretary Lorenzana specifically. Secretary Lorenzana has always been quite polite. I mean, relative to many other officials. But the point is, if we're appealing to statesmanship, I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to do it. So it brings us back to that question. When, however you want to call them, hindi kayo statesman, hindi kayo politic, hindi kayo polite, wala kayong pasintabi sa amin and so on. Pero babawiin namin yan. Where does that put the University of the Philippines? What are the options other than saying, ano ba naman, pwede naman tayo nag-usap?
For example po, may habol po ba ang UP? Yun po.
Well, we're not even attempting to change them. They are who they are. Napapansin lang natin. Pero ang UP, hindi ho naman mawawalan ng option. Kasi, as I said, the constitutional rights and guarantees, nasa konstitusyon yan. No president can take it away from us. No abrogation of any agreement will erase that. And the option of UP is simple. We continue to be free, to maintain academic freedom, to be critical thinkers, and to be responsible servant leaders of this country. Yan naman ang panata nating mga scholar ng bayan, di ba? Ginastusan tayo. We come from the premier university. Nangunguna ang university sa track record, service at mga graduate. Pagpatuloy natin yon. Huwag tayong matinag, huwag tayong matakot, huwag tayong mangamba. Yan ang tamang sagot dito sa maliit na kontrata na ito na bigla na lang nilang tinalikuran.
Okay.
Well, sir, let me broaden... sige po, go ahead.
Sige, go ahead.
Let me broaden it a bit, sir. If assuming that the DND refuses to give in to appeals for it to reinstate that agreement, what do our laws say? How far are military and police personnel allowed to go into campus, and what are they allowed to do, what are they not allowed to do inside a public campus like UP?
Well, to ask that, Edno, one, hindi naman ibig sabihin na kung tatanggalin yung agreement na yan, pwede na sila mag-marcha and to roll into our campus. Hindi ho. Because of my control and management sa ating mga campuses, yung mga opisyal, Board of Regents, mga chancellors, mga president, UP community. So kung ayaw silang papasukin ng ating administrasyon, mga UP administrators, hindi pwede basta-basta pumapasok mga yan. Kagaya lang ng anumang mga campuses. Di ho ba, kung wala kang warrant of arrest, search warrant, wala namang national security issue dyan, wala namang gera, hindi basta-basta pumapasok yung mga alagad ng militar o kaya ng batas. Sapagkat meron tayong sariling UP police at gobyerno din yan. At kung merong mga halimbawa, inappropriate mga tik-tik o yung mga manggugulo, pwede ko diyang ipaaresto at palabasin o kaya ikulong ng ating mga kapulisan sa loob ng campus. So, hindi ho mahuhubaran, hindi nawawalan ng control at administrasyon ng mga opisyal ng UP. We have to emphasize that because akala ng iba na pag tinanggal yan, parang hubad ng UP at free country na kahit anong pwedeng gawin. Hindi ho. This is a campus. It may be a public campus, but everyone is entitled to feel secure and the constitutional rights to our privacy as a university, as a community sa UP, nandun pa rin.
Right.
Attorney,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, lipat ako dun sa introduction
Tama.
ng aking sa inyo. Yung dahil pinag-uusapan din yung isang controversial agreement na yan, that the government is working out with the Chinese company Sinovac. At yung mga senadore, they are leery about it. Mukha daw may parang mukhang merong gustong i-overprice. Ano po yung tingin niyo from what you're hearing from the government? Talagang medyo opaque yung policy sa pagsasalita nila kulang sa transparency. What do you think of it?
Well, alam ho ninyo yung policy, dapat yan should be subordinate to what the law says. Malinaw ho na ang ating konstitusyon demands transparency in matters of public interest, including public funds. Secondly, the Filipino citizens have a right to information. Dalawa ho yan. No less than the Supreme Court has ruled in the Chavez versus NHA case na yan, you don't need any enabling law. Dapat sundin yan. Plus ito ho, yung executive order na pinirmahan ni President Rodrigo Roa Duterte nung umpisa ng kanyang termino, kinikilala nila ito eh. Sabi nga nila na yung executive, there's urgency na i-operationalize natin yung transparency. Eh ngayon biglang hindi man lang masabi sa atin kung magkano ba yan, ano ba ang terms and conditions. Ngayon ang kanilang inaano kasi may contractual non-disclosure. It has been
May
settled.
basis ba yan in international law? Yung mga NDA na yan sa mga negotiations for loans and purchases, government to government. Meron bang ganyan talaga na
It is
confidentiality?
settled and consistent in international law and our local laws na yung kontrata, provision ng isang kontrata, hindi pwedeng baguhin yung public policy na nakalagay sa konstitusyon, yung transparency, at yung mga batas. Merong executive order. So, hindi pwede yung kontrata, babaguhin yung batas. Yung batas, govern yung kontrata.
Attorney, sinasabi ngayon ni Secretary Galvez, magkakaroon naman ng transparency at saka access to information after the fact. They say na yun, let us negotiate first, honor the NDA, at magkakaala naman yan. Eventually naman, dadating naman sa COA. Does that satisfy the public policy?
Hindi ho totoo yan na may pagkukulang ho ng pag-aaral kasi kung babasahin natin yung napakasimpleng provision ng konstitusyon, doon pa lang sa planning stage may transparency na dapat So huwag naman natin hintayin na meron pang hindi tamang mangyari, saka natin parurusahan o questionin sa COA. Di ho ba kalokohan yun? The principle of transparency to prevent corruption is really proactive. Na bago mangyari yan, lantad na para wala ng kalokohan. So it is really proactive. So hindi ho appropriate yung paningin na sige, bayaan nyo munang gawin namin. Pag may kalokohan, kasuhan nyo kami o questionin nyo. That's not the spirit and intent of the Constitution. That's not the function of the principle and policy of transparency.
Pero sir, let
And
me
what
begin.
about the process? Do you think, for example, that the executive can barrel its way into concluding all of these agreements without the Senate looking over its shoulder, or even preventing the deal from pushing through? Is the Senate in its place also? Will it be legal for the Senate to actually intervene in what is essentially an executive task?
Well, the Senate is perfectly doing its job right now. May oversight yan sa public funds At they can ask questions in aid of legislation para kung may nakikita silang butas, pwede yang i-amyendahan ang batas. So, it is perfectly within its powers. Co-equal yan So, hindi ho naman pwedeng dahil executive ka, gawin mo yung gusto mo, saka na lang kayo mag-complain. At kung titignan natin sa nakaraang mga recent developments, umatras ng malagan yan. Sasabihin naman pala yung mga detalye. So, yung initial kasi na hesitance nila na magsabi ng detalye, diyan tuloy umusbong ang lahat ng klase ng spekulasyon at suspicion. Kung wala naman palang mga anomalya, trustworthy o hindi yung opisyal o gobyerno, let's just maintain the policy of transparency, less problem for all of us. Ang nangyayari sa atin ngayon dahil sa ganyan, yung iba nagbabakuna na sila, tayo pinag-aawayan pa rin natin kung sinong kumita, tama ba ito o hindi. Because we are getting away from policy.
Attorney, yung defense sa corruption, sabi nila wala naman daw dadaan na pera sa kamay ng mga cabinet member.
Oo nga.
Ang magbabayad daw yung World Bank, ADB, straight to Sinovac. Tama ba yung argumentong yon? Siyempre tayo pa rin yung mag-a-approve ng utang natin yun and taxpayers will be paying for it, di ba?
Of course, kung tayo pinapautangan at sinabi natin, dyan mo gamitin ito ang presyo, tuwang-tuwa yung nagpapautang, di ba? Kung anong gusto mo, di bayaran namin, basta bayaran mo kami, ganun yan Hindi naman silang nagdidesisyon. But regardless, no, kahit tama na wala, kahit with or without corruption, with or without trustworthiness, the policy of transparency is there for everyone to use and respect. Kasi that translates to good governance. Why are we deviating from that? What's this argument about pagkatiwalaan nyo kami, hindi dadaan ng pera? Wala ko yun. Wala naman tayong sinasabing ganun. And also for us lawyers, rule of law tayo Nasa konstitusyon yan, nasa jurisprudence, nasa executive order. Ba't hindi natin sundin ang sarili nating batas? Nobody should be above the law, whether or not you are high or mighty, pinaghihinalaan o hindi, honest or dishonest, sumunod lang tayo sa batas, wala tayong masyadong problema.
Okay. Attorney Domingo Egon Cayosa of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Sir, maraming salamat for joining us tonight.
Salamat, Attorney.
Maraming salamat. Good night.
And that'll be all for this Tuesday edition of The Chiefs. We hope what to discuss here will keep the conversation going. I'm Ed Lingao.
I'm Ami Paminton of the Philippine Star.
I'm Lucy Cruz Valdez of News 5.
I'm Robbie Alampay, and we are One News.